let's talk about something far out, because we have ESPN dropping their 2025 mock draft here, which I know what you're thinking probably. It's way too early, right? Yeah, it is way too early, but they're still doing it, and people are still talking about it. So we want to bring it up to you guys there. And of course, the conversation till Daniel Jones either shows otherwise or they tell otherwise is going to be the fact that we need a quarterback, guys. Like, no one really thinks DJ is the long-term answer. We saw on the Hard Knocks there where Joe Shane kind of alluded to the fact that we need to find out what Daniel Jones is and what his his top end is, because the Giants still don't feel like they know. So, assuming Daniel Jones is what I think most of us do think, and that he's a guy who is an NFL quarterback, but not necessarily an elite quarterback, this could make some sense for them to go, like, we need a quarterback here. So here's the ESPN write-up. They said projected trade, Giants come up to number 1 overall. Says we might not have a generational talent like Caleb Williams in the class, but there are some really good quarterbacks. And given that the Patriots just used a 2024 top 3 pick on Drake May, I'd bet they'd be listening on trade offers if they were to have the top pick next year. I like the idea of the Giants moving up, and the trade package could look similar to what Carolina sent to Chicago in 2023, when the Panthers slid up to number 1 from number 9. They said, I have the Giants dealing their number 6 pick, second rounder in 25, first rounder in 26, and a second rounder in 27 to get this done. That'd be giving a lot, first off, guys. Oof. Anyway, they said New York Giants, number 1 overall, select Carson Beck, quarterback out of Georgia. We said the Giants threw 15 TD passes last season, 5th fewest in the league, and Daniel Jones is coming off a season-ending ACL injury, but the team is running it back this year. Veteran Drew Lock was added as a backup, but there still isn't a long-term answer under center on this roster. So the front office might get aggressive in finding one. Beck, my QB number 1 in the class at the moment, is a steady pocket passer with a big arm and a great processing speed. He is primed for a breakout season after throwing 24 touchdown passes and completing 72.4% of his throws in his first season as a starter in 2023. Interesting move. Let's look at it kind of in 2 different parts here, because that's what you got. You got 2 different parts here. You got a trade. So we got to talk about the trade here first. So the Giants, in their scenario, were picking 6. So they're basically expecting us to be just as bad this year as we were last year, which I think, first off, I don't think that's to be expected. I think that'd be a little disappointing considering all the injuries we had last year. We got to assume that we'd hopefully have less, which I think puts this, honestly, I think we'll have like a mid first round pick, which would not help this trade. We have to give up more if that was the case. But so we're giving up a 6th overall pick, so the second round pick for that year, the first round of the following year, and the second round of the year after that to get it done. So you're giving up 2 firsts and 2 seconds to go to number 1. And it's a steep price, guys. It really is. I think that if you make that move, you better know what you got. Like, that's got to be a move you make because you know damn well that this is a really good player and this is the guy that's going to lead your franchise for the next 10, 15 years. Because anything short of that is a huge disappointment, guys. Like, that's how sure you have to be, because you're just giving up so much to get this player. Now, as far as the player overall, Carson Beck, again, he's played 1 year starter, as they said there in their write-up. It depends on what he does this year at Georgia. I like the first year he had. I think he's not a bad, quarterback, obviously. I just don't know what his ceiling is because we only have the 1 year. And I think that's what determines whether or not I think it's the right move in this scenario is how does he play at Georgia this year? So I kind of put this in the too early to tell column. But I'll tell you this, overall, the history on trading up and making these kind of trades for quarterbacks has not worked out well. Whether you're talking about, guys like Mitch Trubisky, Trey Lance, like these picks don't typically work out. And you give up so much. It's hard to build a team when you're giving up basically 3 additional premium picks that, you figure the 1 and the 9 is they consider that as both premium picks, but you're giving up 3 additional premium picks that are guys that are supposed to build your team around. That's a lot to give up. If I was the Patriots and Drake May looks even serviceable this year, I would take this offer in a heartbeat. But whether or not I'd make this move would depend probably, again, on how good Carson Beck looks his second year at Georgia. But it would also be, how the rest of the class looks. If I think that Carson Beck is by far the best quarterback coming out of the draft next year, and I'm hell-bent on getting a quarterback, then yeah, probably make the move if that's what it costs, because without a quarterback in this league, you got nothing. But if I think, like, here's Carson Beck and here's the next guy, whether it's Sanders, whoever at that point, like they're that close, they're kind of neck and neck, then why would I give up 3 additional draft picks? That doesn't make much sense. So time will tell. But if I had to make a decision right now with the knowledge that I have, I would say no. I would say don't make that move, because history is why. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And unfortunately, people don't typically do very well when they make these kind of trades. So
thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.